Top Stories with Gyles and Ashley. Morning, you two.
It's good to be with you. I have to say, Simon Calder is the best in the business.
He's amazing.
He knows so much. He goes on all these trips himself.
Everything you need.
Everything you need. He's even got me into hitchhiking.
Wonderful. Please elaborate.
No, because we used to hitchhike when we were younger, he and I, and he said, do it again, you're safe now. And so I was hitchhiking in the Isle of Thanet the other day, in Broadstairs.
Wow.
I couldn't get to the station, did a bit of this. Second car stopped me.
Did they recognise you?
A selfie was taken.
Okay, yeah.
But it was-
Imagine how surreal that would be. That'd be like, is that Gyles?
The jumper. Were you wearing a jumper? The snazzy jumper?
I was. I was.
OK, guys, first up, our story today. Businesses could be accused of discrimination if they fail to train employees about ADHD. Ashley?
Yeah, so this is really interesting. So a judge has said that companies could be negligent. Is it negligent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So suddenly that word, I was like, I haven't used
sound
that word
right.
for a while. If their staff don't properly understand difficulties faced by some workers, and they could be made to pay payouts if they fail to train employees. This is to deal with a number of growing colleagues with neurological conditions, including ADHD, which I know that you have.
I do.
What's your experience of ADHD? Like, how would it affect you positively or negatively in a workplace?
So I was diagnosed, like, kind of loosely as a child, and, you know, it was the idea was thrown around, and I was officially diagnosed in my early 20s. I think, for example, if I'd been properly diagnosed as a child, school would have been a lot easier. But we've moved on a lot in diagnosis for women since then. It creates challenges. In a creative industry that we're in, I find it a massive tool to my advantage. But there are certain things that I have to navigate and things I have to do to make myself, you know, employable and nice to work with and all the rest of it. So I get the point of this, but I do feel a little bit for employers on the side of this one, because I do think it's a very difficult thing to get right, because I think that we have personal responsibility to manage our own struggles in the workplace. And then I think there's a halfway house that has to be met.
And I assume there's a great spectrum.
There is,
It stands for
of course,
attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Yeah, and also sometimes hyperactivity isn't in it. You can just be ADD. So there is, you know, it shows itself in different ways for different people. It also shows itself differently in men and women.
See, I'm actually really for this. So this comment was actually made in an employment tribunal because a senior technology expert successfully sued her employer for failing to encourage her colleagues to engage in neurodiversity awareness training. And I think if you're dealing with anyone neurodiverse, but in this case ADHD, like, you know, there are challenges like organisation, focus and attention, time management, emotional regulation. Lots of people with ADHD really struggle. They feel like a lot of pressure and really struggle to manage that. But then, as you said, there's so many strengths, whether it's creativity, problem solving, hyper focus. So I think if you're learning how to make the best out of your employees, then you're going to get a lot more from it. And employees who support neurodivergent staff have shown an increase in productivity, creation, retention. So I think this is only a good thing. And it's a little bit like in school. There's obviously children of all varying abilities and also disabilities. And the more you're training people to be aware of how to help people thrive in any environment, but especially in a workplace, I think it can only be a good thing, because ultimately every person deserves to thrive in work and to feel included and supported, but also businesses will get more out of it if they know how to work people in the best way.
It's how you train people as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to
I
that.
think it's looking at teaching people what it is and how to best navigate it.
Yeah.
And the scale, like you said, of what it can be and how it represents itself and how you could support
Recognising the real thing as opposed to... I mean, I have a grandson who you might think was, if you saw his bedroom, you'd think it was total chaos. But actually, when he's engaged in the subject...
He's locked in.
He's absolutely locked in. But the rest of the time, he's fidgeting. So you might think, oh, my... But actually, if you get him on the right path... And so I imagine you actually have to learn how to see, to recognise.
I'm locked in right now, but if you see me go over there and start playing with an apple, just don't ask any questions.
All right, what rules did you break at your wedding? So having married pub chain owner James Watt in March, Georgia Toffolo has shared a controversial wedding advice for brides-to-be, sharing advice on social media. She said controversial, question mark, maybe, honest, 100%. And some of the advice included, you shouldn't have to invite people for the sake of it. Children should be at a wedding. Wedding cakes are a waste of money.
No.
Flowers overpriced.
No. Well,
no need for a three-course meal.
Yes.
Shouldn't have to change your surname. I mean, she's got a bit of backlash online. I don't really understand this backlash.
I think have whatever wedding you want. And actually, her advice is good. Don't invite people for the sake of it, because I do think there are lots of people who feel immense pressure from external sources. I mean...
I think part of the backlash is people saying, I want to have the wedding I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's great. And, you know, I think people are saying that she's being disrespectful towards all these businesses, a lot of them female-owned. So they're saying, you know, if she got married in a remote part of Scotland, that she could have actually used loads of businesses up there. But I just think what I like about this is she is showing that you don't have to spend loads of money, because if you want to have the biggest wedding ever, do it, and you want to spend all your money on this one day, then do it. But also, a lot of people feel pressure too, and the average cost of weddings, I think, is around like £25,000 now. It's so much more than it ever was. I mean, I've broken every tradition because I decided not to get married, so that's much cheaper. But I think have the wedding you want. If you want the most expensive dress, have the most expensive dress. If you don't want to wear a wedding dress, don't wear a wedding dress. I think it's about choice and empowering people to do it their way.
What I can't get my head around in this picture is that his hand? Because he looks miles away.
Is that his hand? No, it's someone else's
Well, that's what I mean.
hand.
He looks so far away from her.
But also the outfit. The outfit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of simping back into my chair.
His arm can't be that long.
He's only stood there.
It's impossible.
Well, I went down the route. I did the big wedding, and the wedding, and I've been quite open about this. The wedding got bigger than what it was about, and it ran away from us.
Can I say,
to a point
it was one of the best weddings I've ever been to. It was beautifully done. It was so brilliant. She had so many guests, she didn't even notice I was there. But I was thrilled to be there.
Gyles,
you did it with class and style.
I was almost panicking.
Did you enjoy it, though?
There were people that congratulated my wedding weeks later, and I thought, oh, my God.
You with it?
Oh, yeah.
Did you love it, though? And do you look back and think, I'm so glad that I had that day and that I spent that money, or would you do it differently next time round?
My husband feels it was the best day ever, and he loved it and worth every penny. I think we could have scaled it back and had the same level of enjoyment. But then I think for him, he didn't get sucked into as much of the politics and the phone calls. I never wanted to be consumed by a wedding. It just got silly, and I ended up there somehow.
It's impossible not to be consumed by a wedding.
But, well, sometimes grooms manage to be really... They just turn up and they're like, oh, someone's thrown me a party.
On March the 15th...
This is amazing.
You just turn up and you get married as part of it.
Yes.
On March the 15th, 1937, my parents were married at Marylebone Register Office. They turned up not realising that you have to have witnesses. The pair of them just turned up.
Just on their own?
Yes, on their own. They were told you have to have two witnesses. So nice. There was a cleaner, who was one witness. My dad went down into the street, and there was a fellow who sold flowers at the corner on the Marylebone Road, and he came up to be the witness and bought them a bunch of flowers.
I love that.
So they got free flowers and witnesses, and they lived very happily.
May I just put this in?
Are you going to talk about children?
Second point, yeah, children should be at a wedding. They bring the best chaos, particularly to the dance floor.
I agree.
Discuss.
Do what you want. If you're happy to have children at your wedding, have children at the wedding. If you don't want children at the wedding, don't have children at the wedding.
I think where she went wrong was saying they should be. You can't make a definitive statement for...
I think that's why she's getting...
Where I found it really difficult was when I was breastfeeding. I was invited to a wedding and there was this strict no-child policy, but I couldn't leave my child because they were literally feeding off my body. And I've spoken to lots of people who've been invited on hens who feel loads of pressure to go, but they also can't leave their baby. So I think if it's a really small baby and you want that person at the wedding, sometimes you can't choose to leave the child at home. But if you don't want children at your wedding, I also think that's fair.
Our local vicar told me you have to have children at the wedding because they're usually there. It's usually the children of the bride and groom. He said, I only draw the line at breastfeeding at the altar. Otherwise, anything goes.
I didn't have any at mine.
No.
We don't have any ourselves, so I didn't want other people.
Don't you have brothers and sisters who might have children?
Well, not.
I think most people, unless you're in the fog of war, unless you're there, most people quite like having it.
But I seem to remember
so many of my friends were like, oh, my God, now a guilt-free night, babysitter, 100%. And we can have a drink, and we don't have to worry about...
What about the bridesmaids and the...
Well, I didn't have bridesmaids or page boys. I didn't do any of that.
I was clearly at the wrong wedding. I seem to remember a little boy with rings on a little cushion.
No, that was the royal wedding you were at.
We've discovered something about the nature of friendship.
Do tell.
We have just shared a croissant. And the lovely thing was, Ashley was having a croissant. She could see me looking a little bit peaky in the corner. And what did you say to me?
Well, basically, there was only one croissant, and I knew that Gyles wanted it, but he was being a gentleman and saying, no, you have it. And I said... better to share it and have two people happy than me have it and have one person sad. And Gyles really liked that. He was very touched.
I remembered it to start share with my grandchildren. And I think actually sharing a croissant is a very nice thing. What is risky in life is to share books. My podcast producer, Harriet, lent me a book, and I lent her a book. And I think this really is a sign of friendship, because when you lend a book, you can't really expect to get it back.
No, you never really lend a book, do you?
Yeah.
Something also that can be quite risky for you, Gyles, is brushing your teeth.
I don't know how this has got into the newspapers.
Please
News
tell
of the day.
us.
This is not one to gossip.
What has happened is this. As I've got older, I've used the dimmer switch more and more in the bathroom.
OK.
Because I used to get up in the morning feeling quite perky and say good morning to myself in the mirror as I clean my teeth. I thought, hey, it's great, another good day. But as the years have gone by, I've less liked the sight of myself.
Oh, no.
No, I'm sorry, I have.
I had that issue. I know a great doctor.
Thank you.
Do you want those abs?
I saw that
I have
programme.
the list.
I saw his body on the slab when they were cutting him open and removing it all. No, so I'm brushing my teeth in the half dark. And the other day, I realised I'd brushed my teeth with the tube of Voltarol instead of the tube, because I keep them on the side. You know the Voltarol for your...
So it's a
joint pain thing.
What did it taste like?
Well, this is the point. I didn't realise that's what I'd done until I went back in the evening to brush my teeth a second time. I just
You brushed your teeth in the morning, you didn't know.
I brushed my teeth in Voltarol and didn't notice the difference, which may mean that Voltarol really works. It numbs you to such an extent I did not know. So I brushed...
But my gums don't feel inflamed at all. This is absolutely marvellous.
But this is what it comes to. If you're doing it in the dark, you don't quite know what you're doing.
Get that on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
What else have you been doing in the dark in your bath? Listen, it feels rotten, this, because it feels like we always talk about shoplifting. It just feels like a broken record, if I'm honest with you. The official figures from the Office of National Statistics reveal shoplifting is at an all-time high, with shops reporting nearly 3 thefts a minute in the UK. Gyles, what can government do about something like this? It just feels so...
I have to say, if government knew, they would be doing it. I mean, the truth is, it's partly a problem with people feeling that they should be able to take things because they haven't got enough things in their lives. There are also groups of people doing it dishonestly. There are people of an older generation like me who will remember the 1930s when things were even tougher than they are for people now. There wasn't the degree of shoplifting. There are people like Nigel Farage who are saying, let's have big, beefy, male police officers on the streets outside the shops. People are throwing in 2 cents worth of ideas, but nobody does seem to have the right idea. And I feel ashamed to say I stand by and I've watched it happen in my local supermarket and done nothing about it. And not seen the staff able to do anything about it. Because people come in and whisk things and go out, and we all just stand by and accept it. I don't have the answer.
No.
I mean, I would say that there's 2 types of shoplifting, isn't there? There's poverty and there's profit. So one is obviously organised crime, one is more desperation. Neither obviously are justified, but I think shoplifting is a mirror to society. We're in a cost of living crisis. We saw the Tory cuts where they slashed police budgets, closed police stations. We've kind of lost that neighbourhood policing. So, number one, I think there is no real fear of consequence because, number one, we all know there's no space in prison. And number two, we all know that there are no resources to tackle everyday crime. Even if you get your bike stolen, it's very unlikely anything's going to happen, even burglaries. So this is considered quite petty, even though it is costing now £2.2 billion a year.
The trauma.
It honestly breaks.
Staff as well.
It breaks my heart going into the baby aisle to get food for my kids and seeing baby formula locked in security boxes, because back in the day, like even I'm going to say 5 years ago, it was really only expensive items like champagne that was in security boxes, maybe like the very, very, very best meat. So I do think that says a lot about society. Like even in the days of Margaret Thatcher, I wasn't here, but you know, there was free formula. Nobody should ever have to steal to feed a child. And even if it's the organised crime stealing these items, they're selling them to people who maybe can't afford to buy them. So I think it says a lot about where we are in society with cost of living, with the rise of food prices, with benefit cuts. People are really struggling and, yeah, no consequence because there's not enough police to manage it. Mentioning
the policing, though, is relevant to remember that there weren't police officers in supermarkets or shops 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's not as if that is... I'm with you on police on the beat. We all like the idea of community policing, but they weren't actually in the shops before. People's attitude must have changed.
Do you think self-checkout's anything to do with it? I'm just chucking it out there. Do you think it used to be the notion that you bought something, you go up, you queue, you go up to a till, and there had to be an exchange, whereas now You doesn't have to be an exchange.
No.
You go up and you just,
I do still
it's
get.
kind of more
I'm of that
transparent.
generation who still goes to the till.
I like
I
the
pretend.
till.
I pretend I'm buying cigarettes or vapes or something to be allowed to stand in the queue because I like being looked after. But I know.
Like, Charles' smoking habits really getting out of hand. He doesn't even smoke.
But I know what you mean. People feel they can just go and pop it in the back and go.
It's easier, isn't
But you told me an interesting story about how you, when you were working in a shop.
Yeah, I used to work for Abercrombie, and in there they always say, obviously, never pursue shoplifters because it could be really dangerous. But say we saw somebody put some jeans in their bag, you'd be like, "Hey, I know a great top that would go with that with those jeans."
Engage them in conversation.
Yeah, so you let them know really politely, like, "Would you like me to put that in a basket for you? I know a great top that would go with those jeans."
That's a really good
It's the one
way.
you could see anything in Abercrombie. It was always so dark when
I
I
know,
went in there.
and
So I'd
it
come out and
it
go,
always
come out and go,
upset the
these aren't green at all.
And the music, and you could smell it from down the road.
Yeah.
There's the aftershave they used to pump through the air
But
vents.
hold on, I've just had an idea. Given everything you buy, they do beep on it when you're paying
Yeah.
for it. Beep,
Yeah.
beep, beep. Why isn't there a screen as you leave the shop that if you haven't beeped it and paid for it, it makes a funny
So
noise?
I think now a lot of self-service checkouts, you actually have to scan your receipt to be able to get out of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
OK, let's move on. Would you work for McDonald's and McDonald's restaurants become the first in the UK to have a special area for remote workers? This is in Greater Manchester. Sections off part of the dining area for laptop users to sit and work from home. Notice reads, if you're lucky enough to look under 16, we reserve the right to ask you to use an alternative restaurant area in the restaurant since 16-year-olds can't work remotely there. Ideas?
Now, if you're working from home, you should be at home with This Morning on in the background. You're working, and then when there's an item that interests you, thank you for being with us, turn up the sound. Working from home is from home with ITV1 in the background.
Yes.
That's my idea of working from home.
Nice, subtle plug. Love it.
Well, then, yeah.
Do you know what? I love this. I think, times have changed. Lots more people are working from home, and actually a lot of people are more productive at home, and we know it makes good economical sense for businesses because they don't have to have as bigger offices anymore. It helps to retain staff. It's really inclusive, so if anyone obviously is caring for children or caring for elderly people, if they have disabilities, like working from home is a great option, but not everybody has separate offices or, a lot of people being forced to work from their beds if they can't go into the office.
Sure.
So I think if you're someone that actually is more productive out and about, I love like a bit of background noise. Or sometimes if I've done like the morning at home, I'll be like, right, I just need to get out in the afternoon. Plug sockets. Loads of cafes don't want people to be working from them. So if you know that you can go somewhere and you're welcome there, there's plug sockets, you'll buy your coffees.
But what you're proving is that people need people. And my belief is you actually work best from work.
No, but I would disagree because my partner works from the office 3 days a week and he loves going in, but he said he gets less done because he's just chatting more.
Oh, but part of the chatting is part of the work, actually. For younger people, too, as they're working
The social interaction
Yes,
is valuable for sure. It wouldn't work for me with the ADHD because I'd be like, oh, someone's getting a Big Mac with no sauce. Interesting. I'd be like, oh, my gosh, I'm on a Zoom call.
Thank you, guys.
Is it over?
Hang on a second.
Are we over? Because I just want to say before we go,
Yeah, go
that
on.
I think your fingernails are the most wonderful thing in the world.
These?
just look
These
at
are
me.
They are
things.
nice.
How do you get dressed?
Lovely manicure.
How do you get dressed?
Oh, someone dresses me.
Oh, because
I'm joking.
trying to get dressed this morning,
poor
my
thing.
nail went back.
Oh,
when I was putting on my trousers.
Is that what happened, yeah?
We'll
take that story.
That is
with
what
that finger,
happened.
yeah.
And so I'm now all wrapped up, and I
Poor
couldn't
thing.
have lovely
He
fingers
couldn't
like
use any
yours.
Voltarol. He used it all in his teeth.
I'm falling to pieces.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.